Já, komið velkomin sæl í Plorrinn, please. Í dag ætlum við að spila leik sem heitir Stanley Parable og ég ætla bara hérna rétt á meðan við erum að byrja ætla ég að bara sjá hvort þetta sé ekki alveg örugglega að virka allt saman rétt. Má við sjá. Ok, jú, herðu, mér sýnist það. Skulum taka allavega. Herðu, subtitles, jú, tökum English, confirm. Have you played Stanley Parable before? Nei, það sem við erum sem þetta að gera núna er að við erum að koma bara 100% blind inn í Stanley Parable. Ég veit ekki hvaða leikur þetta er. Þetta sé coverið, þetta sé, maður sé eitthvað svona skrifstofkall. En ég hef ekki spilað gamla leikinn, hef ekki lesið neitt hann, þannig að við höfum ekki slide on the computer is barely visible. Sko, ég skil ekki. Please enter the current time. Sko, klukkan er má ég sjá, hún er 10:20, má ég sjá, 10, ég segja 21, svona. Node accessibility settings can be accessed from the main menu. Ok, frábært. Geggjað. Ok, það er bara begin the game.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this.
427. Eitt sem ég hafði séð á Reddit var að þá var að segja leikurinn ætti að kosta $427.
And then one day something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Jæja, ok. Ok, þannig að þetta bara svona. Þetta hérna. Ok, við sjá. Ég get þannig byggt mig hérna með þessum. X gerir eitthvað. Ekki bara að fara að fá okkur kaffi þá eða? Ok, þetta skrifstofan okkar hérna. Málverk hérna. Smá veg, við erum á 427. Ok. Þetta skrifstofa 428. Greinlega ekki farið þar inn. Þetta 429 hérna.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Já, ok. Mig grunar að það sé nú ekki svo einfalt, sko. Allir númer eitthvað. Stíi hérna. Mikið af svona motel art. Þetta sama og inn í okkar. Sjá. Akkurat.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay, það eitthvað svona narration. Ég vil fara hérna.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Ég get gert það sem að narratorinn að segja mér að gera ekki, sko. Má sjá. Þetta stitt hérna. Betra með ljósið það. Nája. Jó, ekki bara. Hæ? Þetta ekki Red Bull, sko. Þetta Michelob Ultra. Ok, herðu. Hérna eitthvað, en sko, stundum við svona 4B9, 449. Herðu.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Okay, herðu.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Oops. Þetta var ekki alveg það sem
Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left. Oh, no. No, it's to the right. My mistake.
Okay.
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh, dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
Now,
let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right.
Ég allan að fastur
Okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Whoa. Herðu. Bíll.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Yeah, okay. Herðu.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Þá förum við bara to meeting room. Fylgjum bara sögunni, það ekki bara?
Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Ég get þannig ekki farið hérna. Manstu, ég fór hérna síðast, þá endaði hérna í breakroominu, þannig að ég ætla bara að fara hérna. Þetta það sem maður átt að fara. Oops.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again?
Nei.
Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong.
Nei,
it's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back
the
other direction and see if we missed anything?
Anskotin. Átti ég bara að fylgja sögunni. Búið að sulla kaffi hérna. Konan var eitthvað kveikja og slökkva ljós og eitthvað. Heyrðu. Hvað nú? Ég kom hérna.
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Uh-oh.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay? I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart. All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
See,
the line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Smá tónlist. Allt í lagi. Zigzag. Þessi leikur nú bara eitthvað bull, sko.
Cut the music, go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Því fura sko jólatré. Fern. Það svolítið fyndinn þáttur eitt hérna með Gaffigan, hvað heitir hann? Zach Gaffigan. Between Two Ferns. Ég horfði stundum á hann. Alltaf mjög rosa fyndinn.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Nei, oops, byrju, aftur komin hingað.
Oh, no, not again, Line. How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through,
you... I
can't take this anymore, to hell with it. Restart.
Fylgjast með öllum starfsmönnum. Því þarna sáum við að það var einn starfsmann sem var fired. En ég reyndar hafði ekki tíma til að finna
okkur. You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Okay. Flott.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Ég að pæla í hvort að klúðraði ég þessu geðið mikið að...
Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Jæja, kíkjum á það. Línan alltaf þessu krus, út allt. Jæja, við komast allan ekki þarna upp.
A choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clear yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Oh, Robert. The confusion ending.
Oh, hold up, what's this?
Deviate from maintenance room, end up in monitor room, narrator restart game.
That's what this is? It's all one giant ending?
Discover the tutor room.
And we're supposed to restart the game
many additional doors.
8 times? That's really...
End up in another... Narrator restart the game.
So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, you consulted me. Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really?
Wow.
No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait, you know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination, so I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
Restart. Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, nú fylgjum við sögunum bara alveg 100%.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Já, það var það sem hann sagði. Já, þetta meeting room.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Bi-quarterly post-review. We need reviews. 402 plus 405 want to get rid of the death sport portion in the primary review schedule, but I think that's a stupid idea. No more bins, trash can. Finding teenagers to put in teenage demographic. Number of slide on this slide. Þetta svona pínu svona, þið skiljið örugglega ekki sko. Þetta svona smá bara verið að gera grína svona skrifstofu dóti sko. Maður oft með svona, skiptir ekki máli, þið skiljið þetta ekki. Þetta þú veist, ef maður vinnur á skrifstofu þá skilur maður svolítið sko.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Okay. Allt í svona mahogany hérna. Hann vinna hérna. Halló, du. Ég móttökuritari, ha.
Stepping into...
Oops. Var ég að klúðra þess aftur núna? Að því hann var að byrja að segja stepping into his... Ég átti að fara þarna inn. Executive bathroom. To be rich, is it a crime? To commit crime, isn't it rich? What a life it would be to have to pick just one. Extreme bathrooms. Okay. Okay, herruðu. Það var ekki það, þú veist, ertu að grínast í mér? Og kemst ég núna bara ekki að það inn aftur? Ertu ekki að grínast í mér? Akkur þetta allt læst? Herru, ok, þá erum við bara að fara niður öttur. Þetta er nú eitt lélegt stream hérna sko. Hérna. Og hérna geta farið hérna niður. Allt rautt hérna niðri. Mua hérna. Hælein í eitthvað. Æ. Sorry. Ég get ekki tekið þetta upp. Þetta ekki verið hérna. Þá verður ég bara að tilbaka. Ég get ekki gert neitt hérna. Nei. Þetta var meeting roomið hérna. Meeting room. Þá verður ég bara að fara inn hinna hurðin aftur. Nei, sorry, en þið eruð að grínast í mig með þetta. Hvaða... You are now leaving. Okay. Það var ekkert sem ég gat gert að inni. Þannig að... Ja. Það var 757. 758, hvað... 759. Sorry, en... Escape pod lunch bay. Okay. Þetta hlýtur að vera bara eitthvað skrýtnast leikur sem ég hef nokt gjort. Jæja, ok. Herðu. Ok,
all of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. but his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
2845. Okay. Hvar þetta keypad?
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Já, ég segi það. Ég sjá hvort þetta sé ekki ennþá. En það allt í góðu með þetta. Newly opened passageway, má sjá. Newly opened passageway, má sjá. Allt í góðu með streamið þá. Hann sagði okkur endur ekki gera þetta, sko, en...
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Oops.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Sko, hérna getum við farið í escape, en það hefur ekki reynst okkur vel áður að dýfi þetta frá sögunni, þannig að við skulum halda okkur bara við það sem hann segir hérna.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Hérna á hann? Þetta ekki bara skjáðin hérna með employee? Hérna Jú, við sjáum hérna á hann.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Hvar erum við? Við erum hérna, employee 127. Dimmt hjá okkur. Ja, okay. Pallina. No, lyfta.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Ræðilegt.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Ég veit ekki. Okay.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Okay. Console disabled. Það var ekki mikið úr því hjá okkar manni. Já. Nei. Mind control idle. Awaiting input. Herru. Let's go. System power.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation.
Slökkum á þessu.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes.
Nei,
He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Jæja. Happy ending, eins og maður sagði. Beat the game. Geggjað. Og þá byrja ég aftur.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Þetta
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Spurning hvort að
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Við höfum ekki farið hérna inn. Indoors monthly. Geggjað, smá skrifstofhúmor. Menn alltaf inni. Það fór upp. Sjá hvað uppi. Let's go. Stanley. Já, tökum smá yfirbót. Þetta greinilega sko, leikurinn greinilega þannig að þetta svona þetta ég gerir núna fór bara beint í gegn. Þannig að það greinilega alls konar dót sem maður getur gert. Spurning sko, hvað ekki bara búin að vera að stríma í jú, 40 mínútur. Sko, hvað djöfull erum við að fara hátt í þessari lyftu? Var ég ekki að fara neitt eða? Nú var hann niður. Sko, fjastrygginn að hristast. Ég veit ekki alveg sko. Sorry, ég veit ekki. Þessi lyfta að gera eitthvað? Ég held hún sé ekki að gera neitt sko. Nú get ég niður, svo get ég upp. Nei, þessi lyfta ekki að gera neitt.
The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be all alone? This was too much for Stanley to take. Too much for any man to take. He fell to his... Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few minutes. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Okay. Býtu. Já, þetta var getur hérna. Smá svona American Psycho pynting. Prófum að fara í escape-ið núna. Munið síðast að þá eitt ég upp og það skipti engum máli. Það með að fer alltaf niður. Sjá.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Huh.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death. As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Jæja. Nei, býtu. Erum við komnir í eitthvað afterlife núna? Stanley Parable.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Sko, þetta eru painting málverkin sem eru Stanley's computer. Ok, við erum í einhverjum svona safni núna. Office layout. Blueprint shows the office from the beginning of the game. The path was the first part of the game. Those build sections have been added and altered throughout the development through the core layout remains almost identical to the first iteration. Við vorum að vinna hérna. Hérna. Corridor, the placing of this opening section was important to get right. The corridor has been moved and altered to make sure the player reaches the two doors in a good time. Okay, frábært. The office, akkurat. Button sounds. A selection of sound used throughout the game when buttons are pressed. Each sound is a mix of a keyboard stroke and a synthesized tone. Model design. Ok, þetta eru bara einhverju lúsir sem að byggu leikinn til. Förum til vinstri hérna fyrst. Maintenance room. Þarna fórum við niður, munið ekki? Enduðum í helvitis. Enduðum hana uppi að þessum að. The office. Má sjá. Já, kikka hana. Office clock. Klukkan sem sagt sko. Eitt sem pínu nett það klukkan hérna. Ég það sama. Og hún hjá mér. Hvað hérna? A lounge. Underground. Early version of the underground portion of the game. Okay. The narration outtakes.
Then he pushed the number 4.
Separate times over the 2 years of development. These are clips from early takes that were not used in the game. Freedom ending. This is the very first incarnation of the freedom ending in the game's alpha. Já. Allir það sé ekki endingin sem við fengum fyrst. Freedom ending. Countdown desk. For a time the elevator to the monitor room could go up or down, with freedom above and countdown below. We abandoned this when players found it too difficult to remember what was up and what was down, and placed the two endings together instead. annað freedom ending. Já, býtu. Já, það var þegar við komum hérna. Við höfum ekkert farið hérna í countdown room. Sending model. Já, við endum hérna. Endum við ekki í þessu herbyggi ekkert tímann? Nei, býtu. Endum við frekar svipuðu. Já, ok. Descending levers. Það fullt af alls konar drasli sem að trailers. Ok, vent. Já, hörru. The apartment timer. Cargo lift. War zone. Early in Deluxe, we designed an ending where Stanley would end up in a battlefield fighting aliens. The action game would become sentient and would wage war against the narrator. We realized shortly after starting to build this that it was far too jokey and on the nose for the tone of the game. Ok, og þú veist. What would you do, Stanley, entered any other room? Eitthvað fyrir mig að gera hérna annað en bara, þú veist, að skoða allt þetta. Stanley's office, Devolution. Það exit hérna.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
These two. Slaka á þessu bara. Off.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Turn off your PlayStation. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
Turn off your PlayStation. Jæja. Þá eru aftur mættir hérna.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
So, do not jump from the cargo lift while in motion. Will cause death penalty for misuse of cargo.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life.
Her.
She's been waiting.
Hver hún? Þetta nú komin inn á lager. Pétur Jóhann sé þetta einhvers þar. Ja. Fragile. Já. Herru, á bara. Við getum keyrt littarann. Nei. Bara förum við inn í myrkrið.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another.
Sorry, Jóhann.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Shit, djúvill, anskotin.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Okay.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Í takana.
Look at him there,
pushing
buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Já, með einhverju gínu. Semi-serial killer vibe.
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Please press ring to watch TV.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth.
Ja, okay,
the thought excited him terribly.
Spend time with the boys.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door.
The mere
thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Ég myndi eiginlega segja það að ef við ætlum að ranka sko bíómyndir, besta bíómynd held ég sem að ég hef séð Bedazzled.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. Down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Já, prófa í dekki. Ó, guð. Á, ekki bara íta. Nei. Það var eitthvað eitt sem ég las þegar ég var áður en ég ákvað að spila leikinn. Þá var ég að lesa grein á IGN svona obscure achievement sem maður getur fengið í leikjum. Og það eitt achievement í þessum leik að ef að ég sem sagt logga mig út og logga mig ekki inn fyrir eftir 5 ár að þá fæ ég eitthvað trófí. Þannig að það geti verið svolítið gaman, kannski bara næst, nei, djók. Ég hef svona aðeins verið að pæla í hvað næsta Plorrinn playstream eigi að vera. Stanley Parable, já, þetta búið að vera alveg frábær skemmtun, bara ógeðslega gaman. En það sem ég hef aðeins verið að velta fyrir mér Gollum. Af því að Gollum að koma út í sko klukkan að verða 11:30 þarna. Já, klukkan það hérna líka sko, en hún þetta aðeins á undan hérna. Fuck it, ég ekki.
Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
To question nothing.
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Okay. Pínu dark. Please die. The end is never the end. Herðu,
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something?
He
hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was.
Hann hefur ekki sagt þetta áður. Þetta eitthvað nýtt narration.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Quelle surprise.
Já, frábært. Fínt að þurfa ekki að setja inn. Má sjá. Það er bjórlaus. Hræðilegt.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control
Já,
Facility.
síðast fór ég hérna. Ég ætla að halda hérna áfram.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Sko, hérna kamera. Eitthvað annað? Nei, það var ekkert annað. Þetta bara þessi, takk hérna.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Akkurat. Ég eitthvað svona hægt að gera eitthvað við kapal og eitthvað.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true.
Fórum við upp eða niður síðast?
Had Stanley been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it?
Nei, það var ekkert val. Maður fyrir bara hérna.
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all. Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control?
Loading mind control system.
Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really
let's
do.
fucking
But you
go.
need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going. What all this means, I barely know where to start.
Oh, good.
What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? One solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't.
What?
Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing.
Yeah,
just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your real life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
Oh, tjúvillig maður. Hvaða númer á ég að vera ít á? Ég ít á 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 og það virkaði ekki. 4, 2, 7, það ekki í boði, ít á það.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Erðu, ég ætla að leyfa áhorfendum að koma með theories, hvað sé í gangi, hvað við eigum eiginlega að gera næst. Ég ætla að segja new content.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Herðu, ok. Kíkjum á þetta.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Já, ok. Þetta þetta Ultra...
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure
það sem ég búin að vera að gera hinga til sett bara gamli leikurinn eða?
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it. I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if them... Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right.
New content.
All right,
jump
let's see
circle.
The jump circle? Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Já, klára all jumpin þetta. Ok. Frábært.
Goodness. Another elevator.
Anna.
I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Thank you for enjoying the new content.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's trophies, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test trophy, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Já, það voru bara restarta þess aftur. Nei, þetta nú ekki. Það mynda gömlu skrifstofunni.
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
Já, fuck it. Förum í loftrætninguna. Skoðum þetta.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
The Memory Zone.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation port? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Good times. Unachievable, it's impossible to get this achievement. Já. Þetta er svolítið kósí bara.
Et je n'attends plus que toi, mon amour. C'est là, dans la mémoriso, où je me remémore les
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
The original remake.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. All they had to do was transport it in pristine condition along to the PlayStation, boom, done. And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling. These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh, no. Oh, God, no, Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Uh-oh. That's a bad review. Not recommend.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Þetta er gott enough. Gott review.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't.
Oh,
yeah. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks are my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Ókveð, nú erum við bara okkur ruslahaug. Nei,
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue. Well, there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sick. Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything.
Yeah. Ég mættur áttur. Píp, píp, píp. Klukkan dottin.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said...
Skip.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the...
Sko, plantan hérna alveg steinduð. Klukkan dottin. Klukkan náttúrulega bara eitthvað random núna. Já, akkurat. Nei, heyrðu, komum sól. Gróður, við erum að skipa bara yfir einhver tugi ára. Nei, gróðurinn allur farinn, kom sandurinn inn. Narratorinn löngu farinn. Nei, heyrðu, takkinn dottinn. Húsið kom á hlið. Komst út. Hvað var að skipa meira? Sorry. End is never the end. Jæja, ánöndu góður. Sko, ég var eiginlega til í að fá fleiri bein meðliminn til þess að taka leikinn og svona prófa ýmislegt, þannig að en við ætlum að láta þetta gott heita fyrsta þætti af Plorrinn Plays í Stanley Parable. Við sjáum hvort að koma aftur og reynum eitthvað meira. Segjum þetta gott í bili. Takk fyrir mig.